good evening, wherever you might be, wherever you might be tuning in. Comments here, comments over here. Remind myself meditation. All right, my mic is on. I got a question today. I have a couple questions. I always got questions. I don't know anything. I know things for me. I don't know things for you. So I always have questions. I asked a question actually on the thread this morning. I want to know, what is God? What is God? Because what was I listening to? It's one of the gurus talking about God in Indian culture, that God didn't exist, like the word doesn't even translate. Somebody one day said, God is God. Find it for everybody. But in India, that it doesn't even translate, that God doesn't actually mean this one creator of everything. What is God to you? I think that's an important question because it's still something of conflict. You've got to resolve world conflict, and that's one thing that the silly monkeys are conflicting over. What is God? Do you know? Does your language even allow you to define a God? Does your intellect, does your music is louder than voice? Hang on, I turned it down. I turned down further. Hold on. Oh yeah, wow. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate that. What is God? That's my question. What is God? Because I would like to know. What is God to you? And does that have to be defined the same way for everybody? I'm questioning all of it. This is what I do. This is what I do now. I question everything. Like I said, I was raised in the church, and I believe this Christ thing was on to something that everybody really should think about. Not Christians, Christ. Big difference. Very big difference. I got into a discussion with a good brother the other day, yesterday. And you'd be surprised, I think, how many people are within the church that's defying everything that Christ said. Happily, apathetically, indifferent. Don't give two damns, like a Democrat and Republican in the war on drugs. Couldn't care less. I'm always thinking about that. Why you post so much on the war on drugs? Well, because it's really about kids now. Like, we can go back and look at William Hearst and how it started. And people can say, racism, and big pharma, and the Rockefellers and all that, why it got started. And that's important. Don't get me wrong. It is important. But why is it still going, right? Why is it still going? It's like the 4th of July. I believe that you look back and you celebrate those people freeing themselves, getting more independence, not completely, but a little bit more, before they were re-enslaved. But we have to think about what do we need to fix today, right? Because I always see this thing where they try to get us to be excited and think good things of the past, and we don't do anything today. We kind of sit back. And I think it's important that we focus on what we need to be doing today. And we don't do that because we cheer what was happening a long time ago, and we've got an obligation to the next generation. We've got an obligation to these children to free them from a lot of this nonsense. So that's on my mind. So I do go back to the war. Think about it because why is it still there today? It's just big pharmaceutical industry. I was posted on it this morning. It's the only reason that the war on drugs is still around is because plants make free medicine, right? That's it. That's the only reason. Plants make free medicine. And big pharma, they've created this unsustainable, massive, health vampire-ish medical system that had nothing to do with no damn medicine. It's just synthetic drugs and patents, poisoning people, but they can't have a competitor. And their biggest competitor are plant life, right? Plant life, they make all the medicine for free. And so we keep it today. Most people know that, though. Most people know that. Most people grasp that concept. But it's still here today, and it's still destroying the planet, destroying people, destroying lives, caging children who seem to have outside of the scarcity part of it, right? They have a need to provide the medicine that's always been provided. Grow and sell the things that help people. And then we let governments put them in prison and shoot them and wage war on them. And it's all treason because they buy the politicians to do it. All right. So, but that's not it. What is God? And God, to me, my faith, which is for me, stays in my body. Nobody on the planet has my faith. I got my own faith. I really don't care what anybody else believes. I believe what I believe. You know, because I do think God is within. I do believe more than Gnosticism, that if a creator created you, created creation as a big bang and creations, whatever, then it would make sense that we're all gods. It's within. So it means that I shouldn't take whatever's within and force it on you. But here's my concept for today. I think we're all vampires. I was listening to in India how they protect the cow. Right? And one of the things they were saying is that cows have emotions, right? They've noticed that when someone dies in the family, you can witness the cow crying, like the family cow or something like that. And so it developed this whole belief system around cows being sacred and protect the cow. And so you don't eat cows because it has emotions or complex emotions. And I'm not gonna get into the whole vegan, vegetarian thing, but it just brought up this mind that you're ingesting emotion. If cells have memory, you're ingesting cells that have memory that are abused, and you're ingesting some of that abuse. It's a thought. Just put it out there. You can do what you will with that. But it brought me to this greater understanding, I think, that we are bunnies. We're vampire bunnies, right? We like to pretend we're bunnies. We like to pretend we're peaceful and we're loving and all of that stuff. But we truly have fangs. And we're all consumers. We all consume energy. We all kill, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, meat eater. Everybody's killing. But maybe we should try to consume within our own means. Maybe we shouldn't consume so much. Maybe the great crime is overconsumption. Maybe that great crime is gluttony, where you're over-consuming things. And that's bringing about the end of this particular world. That we should try to consume within our means. I don't know. I'm just tossing it out there. But we're like these vampire bunnies. We like to pretend we're good on the outside and not be honest with what our whole society model's based on. We consume countries, we consume children, the war on drugs, pharmaceutical industry, slavery, prison industrial complex, war, We consume, we're constantly, but we put on this bunny face and we pretend we're bunnies, we got kind of hop around. But we're very vampirish. And nobody's excluded. We're all sellouts, we're all killers, but maybe we should reduce the damage we do. Maybe we should reduce the emotions we consume. I think we might be sorrow bunnies. Sorrow vampire bunnies. We look in the mirror, we always see these nice things. Hang on, let me change it. We always look in the mirror, we see these nice things, and we always try to so nicely, so peaceful. So peaceful. But what is God? What is God? That's the real question. What is God to you? What is God to you? Does everybody have to believe what God is to you? Can you even define God, right? Like, is your mind big enough? Have we done enough discoveries to even approach the possibility of saying that we can define God? We can take a little box of our human intelligence, everything we learned thus far, because it's enough. It's enough. We learned a lot. We put God in that box and put a definition and description. This is what God is, even though we don't know anything, like on the biological level, the physiological level, the cellular level, the atomic level. I mean, we might be getting somewhere on the cellular, maybe, but on the atomic level, on the quantum, we're completely clueless. But yet we're going to define a creator that possibly created all this. So I don't know. So I'm curious. What is God to you? What is God to you? Good morning. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Walt. Lori, is the music good now? God is love. I think so, Lori. But if God created hate, and God hate too? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it would mean that God has to be hate too, right? So God is love and God is hate. But why would God create hate and love? But we can go back to good and evil if we can have that relationship. And I like Anthony's description, Brother Anthony. He said it's more sustainable and unsustainable. So maybe like our even words, our definitions don't even really fit to what God is or what it does. So, but God likes sustainability, which is why I like Anthony. I like it. I really like what he said because God wants something sustainable, right? Like it creates all of this planets and universes or whatever it is, whether it's a little kid in a laptop and the Big Bang was the power to his laptop, created a simulation. I have no idea. But it created all of this. And it wants it to be sustainable. And the only way good gets gooder is with hate. The only way sustainability gets more sustainable is with unsustainable. Why? Because you have a sentient creature that is observing what we call evil, what we call unsustainable, what we call hate. And it should be driving us to be gooder. It should be driving us more to sustainability. It should be driving us more towards whatever God is. Possibly, perhaps. I don't know. But that's why I can't define God. I'm not even going to try to. Not even for me, I guess. I think I'm approaching what God might want me to do. Like, I know it wants me to be less of a vampire bunny. I know that. I know it doesn't want me to consume the sentient creatures that it loves, that it seems to be looking out for, that it's trying to create a sustainable world. That's how people imagine. Like, no, we need to consume. That's the TV people. That's the people, they just upgraded the cell phones. I got that pop up on my phone the other day. It says, yeah, it's your time for your upgrade. You know, get the Galaxy 10 or something like that. I don't want Galaxy 10. I want Galaxy 2. Damn it, I know there's no such thing as a slave-free minimal. You're killing people. You're consumers. You're trying to make a vampire bunny out of me, right? Because the ads are nice and see the people, they mad. They just upgrade. They got that new iPhone. That's somebody right just in the tent, right? They're in the tent overnight, get that new iPhone, work really thinking about where these things come from. They just watch the commercial and got all the nice happy people. Yeah, iPhone's 27. Yeah, everybody's happy. Yeah, I can change my world. You know, meanwhile, somebody's dying in a cave for it. They're like completely taking over entire towns of people, raping all the women, killing the men, and putting the children down in the caves to go get the coltan. That's what I mean, vampires. Our whole model is based on it. We are completely vampires. In bunny suits. Because they give us the bunny suit. That's what TV is for. TV is to give us the bunny suit to make us think that we're all these nice little bunnies, but you know, we're murderers, but we are vampires. And I think a lot of that has to do with because we have no idea what God is. We have no idea what God is. But I got the pop-up. It's like, no, I don't want the new Galaxy 10. Why? I got Galaxy 8, 7. I don't know what this is. The damn thing worked. Why I need a new damn thing? Why do I need to be fired? Do you have, this is the question I asked you. And I would have replied to the text, but it's an automated text. Like, do you have one of them versions that's rape-free? Do you got a version that's child slavery-free? Do you have any version that's vampire bunny-free? Can you send me that model? You got that model? Y'all got that model? What do? Y'all have that model. That model doesn't exist, doesn't it? Well, some people say, I think Deborah posted a link. Sister Deborah posted a link for slavery, death, free phones, but they don't really exist, not in the Western world. Why would you believe that Sprint or Samsung or iPhone actually could start making a slavery, murder, rapey free phone? They don't make those things. I don't think they do. If they were okay with rape and murder and destruction and blowing up nations and stealing their minerals and using slave child labor, if their whole model as an organization was built on that, why the hell would I think that they change now? They just lie to me. They're like the food industry. They lie to you all the time. But what is God? What is God? I don't trust nothing. I don't trust nothing. I don't trust it. That's not my thing. Because I don't know what God is. That's why I don't trust nothing. I don't trust that because y'all always trying to be God. Always trying to be God in a bunny suit. I'm not trying, no. This whole model is based on consuming energy. I'd like to consume less energy. I'd like to kill less people. And I'd like a lot less of my devices to have anything to do with death and rape and destruction. All right, hang on. What happened to YouTube? Where y'all at? I hit the button. Hit the button. Pretty sure I hit the button. Yeah, I hit the button. Nobody over there. Y'all just quiet today. Let me make sure that it is right in case somebody wants to say something. You know, YouTube, y'all supposed to say something. This doesn't work and look, there you go. I know you got something. You gotta say something. You gotta say something. It's a conversation. It's a conversation. And what is God? Brother John says, I am God. I agree, Brother John. I do. I agree with John. I think John is God. I think John is God in every sense that's important to me, right? Every sense that's important to me. Why? Because what do I know about what John's mission or what John needs to do on this planet? I don't know anything about that. Right? So from my perspective, from my own like ecosystem, because we're all like these little universes, and to a degree you're God over your own body, a God, kind of, little g, maybe, I don't know. But you are a creator, right? You eat a banana and the banana turns into a human. So you damn sure are doing some creation, you know. But I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, maybe that's where a lot of world peace is too, not just in providing the things that they keep scarce to keep us in conflict, but also to accept that the Gnostic belief that everybody is a God, that everybody's their own God, that you have no right to violate anybody else, that you have no right to violence. God is the label that man gave for aspects of the universe they could not understand. Ooh, go on. God is actually the universe and everything in it. The oneness is that everything is connected since the last Big Bang. We need to enjoy the ride. There's a lot more going on in this little tiny ball in space. Yeah. John, we in sync. We're in sync on that one. That's what because you had ancient people sitting back. God, right? Like, would we be God if somebody sent you back? Shoot, you don't have to go back that far. Let's say 300 years. Would you be a God to them? You know, could you pick up your slavery device and talk to somebody on the other side of the planet? You know, could you fly in from a space shuttle or an airplane and land on the ground? Because to the Amazon tribes, we're gods, right? So what is that definition? Like, I think so the definition in that sense is technology, right? That sense is technology that you can't understand, and we end up calling it God. So is it possible and plausible that if this universe is full of life everywhere, because the planet's full of life everywhere, that perhaps that other things came here in the ancient past and we called them God, but they really weren't. They were just significantly advanced on us in technology. I think that's a greater question than anything. Certainly a greater question than if we should continue being vampire bunnies, putting on a sweet face, because God is a tool. People use God as a tool in this way. Why? Because we're vampire bunnies, right? They put the bunny costume that God said, and then they want to go murder people. And it's not an anti-religion thing. It's an anti-stop being played as a tool thing, right? Everything needs to consume resources. Everything needs to consume energy. And we can consume within our means, or we can be gluttons and consume too much. And that's part of why banks shouldn't exist, money shouldn't exist, and we shouldn't have bank accounts, because then we're not like little bunnies trying to fill a little bunny stomach. We're big bastards in the West trying to fill a big bank account that has no bottom, no end. You know, it's a model, systemic. Everything is a model issue, but God is a tool like everything else. Man makes a tool, and why would man put down a tool if it works, right? Like we made a shovel, made an axe, pick, made a wheel. We've been using them ever since. The only time that we made a hoe, right? Why don't we use hoes anymore? Because hoes are no longer useful. So now we use big old tractors, right? So what if we stop letting religion be a tool for consuming? What if we stop letting religion and faiths be an external tool for being vampire bunnies? What if we stop letting it try to have a bunny face, hating that God, and using our teeth to consume and kill and get people to group up to go murder somebody else to steal their energy and consume them? Then the elites would have to move on to something else. You might actually get your faith back. They might actually release all them scriptures they're hiding in the Vatican. They got what, like endless books and scriptures in the Vatican that they won't share with you. So nobody really has the truth of it, but everybody's willing to fight over it and try to tell everybody else how to live their lives. When I was an evangelist in Australia, the people often said, get get me own religion. That's a good idea. If everybody had their own religion, you couldn't get them into war doing everything that the gods tell them not to do. We only change form, and I think that's true, John. I think it's energy never is dissipated, right? It just changes form, and we are energy. I mean, we've proven that many times over. Not just that the scripture said it in the past, but science has proven it now. We are energy, and energy goes anywhere. We're energy. I think we're more of a signal. I was listening to somebody talk. They said we're more of a signal in a TV set. That the human body's a TV set. You're grabbing that signal, and this is some of the things that Bruce Lipton was indicating, and Graham Hancock, along with all the faiths and religions going back, and now modern sciences, is that we're a signal. And we land in these human bodies, and we're driving these meat machines. Because I'm not meat. I laugh all the time because we're 98% monkey, yeah, and that's probably kind of some kind of meat, but we don't even understand that. Monkeys have emotions. We have emotions. We got 98% of their DNA. And I think 2% is what's in question. And that second chromosome, where that came from. And maybe that didn't even come from a big G God. Maybe it came from a little G God. I don't know, but we're energy, and we're landing in a TV set. We're a signal. And eventually that TV breaks because the TV is mechanical. I mean, I got an old TV. I still got a TV that does the click. I ain't moving it because it's heavy as hell in the basement. I ain't moving that damn thing. It probably weighs 400 pounds. No. But it broke. So it doesn't get any more signals anymore. So it's in the basement decaying, like us, in the ground. So we don't really die. Just the signal gets cut off because the TV's busted. So where does that signal go if it doesn't land in that TV? Is that reincarnation? What if somebody, a TV repairman, knocked on my door one day, said, you got an old TV down there, yeah, I can fix that damn thing, and get down there, put some tubes in there. Remember y'all used to go, I remember going with my parents to get the tubes for the TV. Young people like, what the hell is he talking about? That's why everybody calls it the boob tube. That's where the signal came from. But a repairman comes and repairs the TV, and now the signal is receiving again. Reincarnation. God to me is a great technology wizard, right? Whatever that is. I think, I'm not sure, but I kind of think that it's this master of technology that I can't understand. Because every time we see a technology we don't understand, we say, God! And really, maybe it's just like the Anunnaki coming down on spaceships, you know? Maybe, Enoch, right? And part of why they took Enoch, that book they took out of your Bible, is because Enoch spent time with God. And you go back, and who was it? I'm gonna say Eric Van Doniken. I was listening to him. He was kind of talking about the book of Enoch and how it kind of described, well, Enoch went up with the gods when he was 12. But the funny thing is when the gods came here and all the other people ran, he stayed there, which is why he got to go up in the spaceship to heaven, was that they didn't know his name. They called him a human. They didn't call him Enoch, right? Because that was God that came down. And this might be why they took it out the Bible. Because when those things came down, they didn't say, because they're supposed to be angels. I guess they were supposed to be. But aren't angels supposed to know your name? They didn't know his name was Enoch. And maybe that's why it got taken out. But like I said, I always look back and everything's about control, because you got kings and they're just bigger vampire bunnies. You got governments, they're just better vampire bunnies. But they need to control people in the narrative in order to get people to do what they want. And that's why you've got people who are supposed to, say God is love and God is Christ, but they do everything that Christ is not to do, killing children all over the planet with government. Because they control the narrative, but they remove obvious things like that. I think if people knew that there was something greater than themselves, greater than their government out there flying in the universe, and then there was a God beyond that, but the God just had basic principles of leave everybody alone, be sustainable, because that's the only sustainable thing. So we should be on this constant march towards sustainability, I think, in my mind. And that's seeking God and walking towards God, not relishing in the little g gods, the kings and governments and lords and Democrats and Republicans and all those things who do unsustainable things like wars on drugs and wars all over the planet, destroying every damn thing, having a choice community and want to take care of these people and exclude those people. Good morning, Jeannie. Good morning, Trish. Good morning, Randy, Nicole. Good morning, John. Let me see. Take only what you need, give more than Give more than you take. Yes, Lori, and that's sustainable, right? If you only take what you need and you give back more than you take, it's very sustainable. That's very godly. Am I whatever I'm heading towards what this God thing might be, is taking care of each other. That's what you're supposed to be doing, not murdering each other and stealing what they have because you want a new smartphone. I like what they say on The Walking Dead right now. Fear the Walking Dead, Lori. They have a group and they're getting closer to God now. And what they're starting to do, they start delivering boxes. Instead of fighting other groups and taking what they got and killing zombies, they're leaving boxes for people. It's not a spoiler alert. There's like 3 seasons into it now, or 2 seasons. And they're saying, what do they say on the side of the box? Take what you need. No. Take what you need, leave what you can, or something like that. Somebody can fix that. But that was a genius model, right? Because they're trying to fix their world. They live in apocalyptic times. They're tired of being vampire bunnies, pretending they're nice with fangs, murdering and killing everything and other groups. They realize everything is about conflict over resources. So they're taking the box and they're writing on the side of the box, and they'll put like food in it and water and radio and all that stuff. Take what you need and leave what you don't. Something like that. Genius. But that's what we should be doing. They're walking towards trying to fix their world. They realize when humans have what they need, they don't become monsters. We don't seem to get that. We're still fighting this, fight each other and steal what they got and make them like us nonsense. Lori said, we know so little. And that's my problem, Lori. We know so little. I don't know enough to tell anybody anything. We know so little. So we should focus on doing sustainable things, right? We should focus on getting to know each other and help each other and help each other's kids, right? We know so little. But now we know a lot more we knew in the past, right? Like we know there are kids that are starving right now. We know there are kids that don't have food. We know there are kids that need to eat. Right? We know that we have warm beds and there are kids all over this planet that don't. Like, shouldn't that be the number one role as an adult, as a parent, to make sure that we share more with them so we consume less energy, we consume less resources, we agree with less people running projects like political parties and politics and politicians that are all about stealing from other people because they want a retirement and careers. More sustainable. That's what I kind of think. I think that we should be here for the children. I think that it's a sign of sentience in every species. I think most species on this planet are more sentient than we are because they prioritize the next generation and we don't. We seem to be locked in this place after they created money of prioritizing ourselves. The whole thing. It's obvious we are spinning in circles in an echo chamber while reality is about to change. Are we spinning in circles in an echo chamber, right? See, I don't think so. I think that, I don't know if we're talking about social media. See, I think it's the complete opposite, right? I think there's a time for action and then there's a time for education. And where I'm at in my mindset, I'm not interested in going out and marching and fighting and getting Sharpies and writing things and on signs. Like where I'm at, I'm realizing that I don't actually know what's correct. I don't really know what's right. I'm not interested in political solutions because all the solutions have always been a scam, right? Going back to all these laws and all, there's always a corporation behind them that's authoring the laws and legislation. I don't want to go out and fight because I don't know what I'm supposed to be fighting. Right? Like I finally get now that everything is controlled opposition. Everybody's selling out everybody else. We're all these vampire bunnies, and I'm not trusting the bunny outfit no more. I'm not trusting the cutesy ears and the fur. I know there's fangs in there. There's always fangs in there. So for me to go out and march against the Muslims or the Christians or white people, the black people, the supremacies, the Democrats, the Republicans, I'm not willing to go march out and I don't want to fight Russia and collude and fight Iran and all. I think it's time for the human race to sit back, Randy. I think it's time to sit back, brother, and just like breathe for a minute. So what the hell is going on? Like what the hell is really going on? Like see the skulls right here? If this bunny right here, this bunny is making all these damn skulls all over the planet, killed, murdered 5 million people since 9/11. I don't think it's a time to act. I think it's time for that chamber to do some echoing, right? Because there are a lot of people who aren't in the chamber. We know there's a lot of people heading out right now to go vote for people they never met on projects that they have no idea about, that are funded and authored by corporations that we know are poisoning and killing us, and all over the world. So I think it is time to we need some echoing, and we need to bring more people in the chamber. From my perspective, I see a lot of people out there looking for solutions, and now it's time to start solutioning. It's like war, in the corporate world anyway. Before I would go into war in a boardroom, I'd go into war, right? Because I was a consultant, and I'd go into meetings with my bosses, other corporations. We did IT outsourcing, we did automation and robotics and monitoring, things like that. And I would prepare myself for war, but I wouldn't just go in the rooms, it's time for war, get my Sharpie sign, let's protest. I didn't do that. I would sit back and I would study. I'd find out who they were. I'd try to find out what they knew, what they were doing, what their initiatives were. I knew who I was. I know the software suite I was working with. I know what my capabilities are, but I need to know who they are. I need to know what the agendas are. And I think before you go to war, before you go to protest, you need to figure out what's going on. Like a good example would be a lot of my Democrat friends. They're out there yelling about the cages. They're mad about these cages, boy. You got the kids in the cage, boy. They're flipping out. And I'm just like, beware the bunny. Beware that damn bunny. You got a Democrat bunny and Republican bunny, and both of them mother hubbers got fangs. You need to beware the bunny, because they're not really opposing each other systemically. Right? They're actually on the same side, right? They still believe in bunny vampirism. On the outside, looking soft and cuddly, saying sweet things. Stop putting kids in cages, but they're doing the same damn thing. The cages are bigger. We call them prisons, but they're still taking kids less than 26 and throwing them in cages too. So that's why I'm not against Trump and the Republicans. I don't really care nothing about replacing one vampire bunny with another, because that bunny got this color fur and that bunny got that color fur. Both of the damn things got fangs, and I'm here for the children. I'm not here for you. I love you to death, but I'm not here to keep getting played by the bunnies. You're all putting children in cages. Like I posted something yesterday, and I was talking to the sister online. Once again, it was a whole war on drugs thing. And, so this whole thing, right? So we know the human frontal lobe is not developed till it's 26. I call everybody under 26 kids. I do. I'm sorry if you're under 26. I do. You're not really human yet. You're becoming human, but you don't have a fully formed frontal lobe. Doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you. Half of these millennials with these half-formed lobes, they got some amazing, brilliant thoughts, and maybe that's why, because they don't have a frontal lobe created at a time where we're all apathetic bastards. So it's not a put down, it's an understanding that I don't think anybody under 26 should be in a prison. Right? I don't think anybody under 26 should be subject to a law created by humans. I don't think anyone under 26 has a human frontal lobe yet. I believe in that science, and scripture says something to the effect as well. So if you're not a fully formed human, how can we hold you to a fully formed law? By humans, for humans, right? If you don't have that thinking capacity to look at things from all angles of this, that, or whatever all these things the frontal lobe does with the empathy and aggression and compassion and fear and all that data, then why are we holding you accountable for what we hold fully formed humans accountable for? It's like you only have one leg. Okay. So here was the example. The example was, I'm not calling you handicapped. I'm not really calling you handicapped if you're under 26, but I'm saying for the sake of this analogy, yeah, you are, right? It's like a baby. A baby can't walk. Would you take a newborn baby, and put it in a race with a toddler? Hell no, the toddler gonna beat the hell out of that thing in a race. Would you take the, what are the handicap Olympics called? What is that called? The Special Olympics? And take people who compete in the real Olympics and the handicap Olympics and the Special Olympics. Would you do that and call that fair? No, if you didn't, then why do we have a law? Why do we have laws based in taking children under 26 who can't even really process that this is a law and I'm destroying my life if I grow this plant for grandma who has pain, or for grandpa or dad who served in the Iraq war and he's got pain and can't sleep at night? That's literally a a law that's based in abusing children, and they're not even fully formed yet. That's taking somebody who's in the Special Olympics and putting them in the Olympics and forcing them to compete. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying this to put anybody down under 26. I'm saying this because the scientists say you don't have a frontal lobe till you're 26, and there shouldn't be anybody in any damn prison under 26. To me, that's psychopathic. It's foul, it's child abuse, it's slavery, it's all of that. But they do it in bunny outfits, so it's okay. So I really don't care nothing about the Democrats crying about Trump putting people in cages, because they got how many million babies they got in cages? How many millions of people they got killed with the Republicans? So it's not a defense. It's just an understanding. I'm done with these bunny costumes. I'm not here to play. I need to check your mouth. What's in your mouth? What kind of fangs in there? I'm seeing blood on the lips, and that's why I ain't voting today. That's why I wasn't voting for something else yesterday. I ain't voting today because you got blood on your lips and fangs in your mouth. And whether you call yourself a Democrat, or Republican, you got furry fur. Whatever this God thing is, it needs me to be sustainable. It loves sustainability. It's got a universe that's sustainable. And the only way that I can honor it for creating me is for me to do sustainable things as well. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So I think now, I don't know, I guess people call it an echo chamber. I think it's an echo chamber if you don't really see what's going on, but the majority of people don't see what's going on. And so everybody, I think now's the time to talk. Now's the time to try to figure out what the hell is going on. Now is not a time to get the next bunny looking thing, bunny looking 2020, and put him in place and hope he doesn't have fangs or she doesn't have fangs. Because as long as I've been alive, only 45 years in this country, they all got fangs. All of them got blood on their little bunny lips and fangs. All right, no light without darkness, no love without hate. Exactly, Lori, and that's why I think hate is here, and that's why I think that God thing allows it to exist to drive us to being better creatures, being more sustainable. Good morning, Megs. Let me see. Mad faces. G loves it. I do love that, Lori. I do. Because you know what? Because Randy's right. Randy's right to a degree. Is that, we need to make sure that people like processing. You hear something you don't like, you're supposed to do the hate face. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that you heard something that you're thinking about. I like that. If I'm saying something you think about, that's fantastic. But if it's all likes and hearts, then Randy's right. Like we got to keep moving forward. I hear stuff I hate all the time. That's why Saj Guru is my main guru right now. Before it was Muji, what's his name? Muji? I like Muji. Before that, it was Tom Woods. He was one of my gurus. Ron Paul was one of my gurus. Martin Luther King was a guru for me. Gandhi was a guru for me. People who said things that I didn't like or didn't understand or didn't know, they were my gurus. I had angry faces. They didn't have this Facebook game back then. But I would hear things and I didn't understand them. Instead of letting my emotions out and unsubscribing, unfriending, which is okay, that's necessary, I would understand why. Well, why do you believe that? It's like even from a religious perspective, like the only reason I'm questioning things now because I realize I'm not actually worshiping God. And I wasn't my whole life. I was worshiping men and kings and things that they said were God. They would say a book was God. They would say a book was the word of God. And they've been editing that book since Adam. So yeah, I'm not interested in the king's perspective or the pope's perspective of God. Like Brother John said, John's God, your God. God is within you and nobody knows what that is. I don't think we're even smart enough to define God. But I had a lot of gurus. I have a lot of teachers. You call it guru, teacher, whatever you want to call it. Who do I look to as a teacher is people who know things I don't know. Most everybody on this page right here is my teacher. Most everybody. Somehow I got my favorites though. I admit I'm prejudiced. I got my favorites. Some of y'all teach me a little more than others. But when people say things I don't understand, I don't fight it. I don't get emotional. I don't like that. You're not my friend anymore. I don't like it. I jump in. Why? Because I'm not here to be stupid. I'm not here to reinforce my indoctrinations and my slave mentality given to me. I want to learn, right? And the only way I learn is if somebody says something I don't get or understand, I jump in. They used to talk about the Federal Reserve. I thought, what the hell y'all talking about? Shut up. Vote Democrat. Vote Republican. We need to vote for Jesus. And I never really got it. Maybe my frontal lobe didn't get developed till I was 40 or something. But now I question everything because I'm done with the bunnies. You know, when you see something that you don't understand, you're supposed to go try to understand. That's what we did in nature. That's how we got here. With somebody sitting in the jungle seeing something, I don't understand that damn tree. I don't know why it's making a fruit and that one is making poison. Let me figure this out. And he would sit there and test it and figure it out. And he feel like the poison actually really wasn't poison. It's poison if you ate too much of it. But it actually was medicine if you used a certain amount of it and you boiled it and mixed it with the root of this other thing and you make something called ayahuasca. Then you can go visit the guys. You know, but it's observation. Observation of things you don't understand, not running from them, right? And that's what I always see in this whole politics stuff, is people run from things that they're fearful of. And who was it? Somebody I was listening to, y'all told me not to listen to. Because you tell me, if you want me to listen to something, tell me not to listen to it. I don't know if it was Alan Watts or somebody. Who was I listening to? I'm always listening. Again, I don't have a life. All I do is I try to educate myself and I learn. I wasn't Alan Watts. It was somebody else. I'll give you a name. Give you a name. Because I know y'all, I want to say the name. Somebody say, you're not supposed to listen to him. What's that brother's name? What he said, looking for his name. No, it was Alan Watts. It was Alan Watts. And what did he say? He said, all right, it's gone. I forgot. Y'all told me I was supposed to listen, so I listened to it. It'll come back to me. Give me a minute. I got to drink more coffee. But definitely always jump in when somebody says something you don't like. And if you're a Democrat, hell yeah, especially if it's a Republican, because they might actually have a point. There might be something true to what they say. I can't join teams or sides in anything because for the most part, I think everybody's right. But they're just wrong enough that I can't be on their team, so they can't have my check in the box that I'm on your side. God is life itself. Something from nothing, like the ingredients made a sustainable meal of perpetual motion that only required contribution to the balance. Amen, Randy, I agree with that. Whatever God is, it's balance. Whatever God is, it loves balance and it loves ecosystems, so we probably shouldn't be supporting destroying the ecosystems, let alone the corporations that bought both political parties that are destroying the entire ecosystem of Earth. Totally agree with that. We should be heading more towards sustainability, not voting and supporting more that destroys sustainability. Amazon on fire over 2 weeks. What's that, Leanne? I don't know what's going on. Amazon is on fire. Hopefully their factories are burning down. That would be a great thing. Not that y'all should go start none. But you wouldn't be a hypocrite if you did. We burn down nations. So yeah, I'd understand if you burn down what you hate. You know, we got a Pentagon that burned down what it hates. I started early. Yeah, Lori, I did start early. I'm trying to get back to starting on time. I'm trying to get back to it's hard because it's just summer's busy. I got so much to plant, Lord. I got so much that I'm doing. What did I get today? I'm supposed to be. Most of the trees I'm supposed to be planting this morning. I didn't actually do that because I'm supposed to be doing this. I only got a few things done this morning. Something else I'm supposed to be planting. Morning, Daniel. What is God? God is fear. Yeah, I think God is fear too, Lord. I think what if God is just everything? What if God is just the entire ecosystem that drives us towards sustainability? Epstein Island is Pizzagate. Well, from a sake of, pedophilia and abusing children, Epstein Island is the proverbial Pizzagate. Yes, absolutely. But then again, so are Democrats and Republican leadership. So is the war on drugs, right? If we look at it from an abusing children perspective, shoot, so is foster care, probably so is parenting. We don't prioritize children. We don't love children. In my view, Leanne, we hate children. We really do. Well, let me say it the right way. In my view, based on the laws I've read and the time I've lived in this country, we not as a country, but as a legislative body, we are indifferent. That's the word. We are indifferent to children. Like they just really don't care. They don't really care what happens to them. It's not their kids, and half the time they probably don't even care about their kids. When it comes to poor children, as a system, as a nation, or a legislative group of whatever, we hate poor children. We do. We hate them. We can't stand them. They're in the way. They're in the way of oil. They're in the way of coltan. They're in the way of minerals. We're in the way of everything. We put them in cages. We bomb them. We destroy them. We just send them back to nitrates. We are definitely vampire bunnies because children, they're the meek, right? They're the meek. And we don't want them inheriting the earth. As a group, we want to destroy and kill and rob their parents and get rid of them because they can't really talk, which is just like the war on drugs. They abuse the war on drugs and legislation before they're even able to make decisions in life that will ruin the rest of their lives. And we blow up nations with children can't defend themselves. Same way police go after poor neighborhoods. That's why you go into poor neighborhoods, all the police there. It's not because of racism. I know you. That's racism. I see this man right there. They thought America was a bunny. You see that? The bunnies. That's good. But police, they don't send police to poor neighborhoods because of racism. They send police to poor neighborhoods because poor neighborhoods can't defend themselves. If you can barely pay your power and water bill, you can't get a lawyer. If you can't get a lawyer, it means that police officer, that sheriff, whoever's giving the orders, that computer system, because remember the computer system was sending police where to go. It knows that, you're going to thrive the best in that neighborhood with arrests, right? And the more arrests you have, the more money you get. The more you're fighting crime, the more money you get from the state, the more money you get from the federal government. So, of course, they're going to send more police to the poor neighborhoods because they can't defend themselves. The same reason we starve kids in Yemen and we blow up kids in Africa and Latin America, and we don't give two damns about the kids in the trailer parks. We'll send police there because it'll work out. Money broke us. Money and power. We became these vampire bunnies. So everywhere. So absolutely, Epstein Island is Pizzagate. Abuse of the weak and the meek is what makes the system thrive. It's the exact opposite of what I think that God thinks is. It says the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, not right now. Not right now. Right now, the nation that says in God we trust is doing what all the nations did. I'm rough on America, but it's all of them. You give anything ultimate power, it's going to act like it's, see, there you go, right there. He believes in the flag. Ultimate power. So it's not an anti-American thing. It's an anti-power thing, right? Total absolute power corrupts. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the problem isn't even the Pentagon. The problem isn't even the politicians or the Democrats or Republicans. The problem is us. We keep a system that thrives on murdering and robbing the meek, not loving or helping or having any concern for them. Gerard, revolution just brings us back to where we started. Yep. We need an evolution, a different mindset. Amen, Miss T, we're on the same point. We are on the same spot. We don't need a revolution because that's doing the same thing. It's the same unsustainable thing that we've always been doing. We need to stop doing that. We need to get a clue. You can go overthrow, and Brother John, he's going to disagree, but it's just the reality. That's still using the same vampire bunnyism, right? Because what is a revolution? You're acting like a bunny. You think you're correct. You think you're right. You think they're wrong. And anytime you get a human being and you convince it that it's correct and you put it in a big group of hundreds of thousands or millions of people, then the most evils are possible. They'll take out their fangs. If they're right and they're correct, that means you are wrong. And when you get a lot of people together and you get that group think and you get that tribal monkey, that thing going, that reptilian brain, they'll murder children, they'll rape women, they'll destroy towns, they'll burn entire nations down. And so basically it's just saying revolution is vampire bunnyism. All they're still saying is you're pretending that you're cuddly. You're pretending that was it that Cadbury bunny? Remember that commercial? You're pretending you're sweet and cuddly and you want us to cuddle with you, but you got fangs. And so there's like some sort of psychology that we're lost in. So yeah, I'm not for a revolution. We need to change the system at a core model. We don't need to just change which bunny is hopping around murdering people. Custer just sent me a photo of a part they received and asked if I could identify it. It was wrapped. Haha. Can you unwrap and take a photo, please? Oh. Well, Megs, that's the American education system. Don't worry, they're from America. Where y'all? UK? Where they? That's not surprising. All day long, I had to have my no surprise face. I have a surprise face, Megs, that I just put on left. Yeah, I'm surprised that this happened. You know what happened the other day? Did y'all hear about this? The custody hearing. I couldn't even read it. Honestly, I didn't even read it. I've read too many custody hearings in my life when I was back involved with children's rights. I don't want to read no more. Nothing surprises me anymore. And you live in a nation where that's an oligarchy. If it makes profit, it's true. If it makes profit, we're going to do it. If it's lying to the people, if it's killing them, throwing their kids in prison, shooting them, blowing things up, that's what we're going to do. Because that's what oligarchy does. Our oligarchy is just it's worse than a corporatocracy, right? It's a government that's just run by money and greed and corporations and banks. They're completely apathetic to everything. If it makes profit, they'll do it. They just got to convince you that they're a bunny, right? And so if it makes money, if people cheer and clap, they'll do it. There was a custody hearing, and the kid, what football team was this? I guess the mom and dad was fighting over the custody of the child, and the judge awarded temporary custody to a football team. BYU? Is that it? BYU? So they sent you a part wrapped, all wrapped. What kind of part is this? That does not surprise me. We give custody of children to football teams. Literally, that happened. That happened. What was it? Idaho, New Mexico? I don't know where that happened. That doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. I posted a thing the other day. Did y'all hear about the other one? Was it Oklahoma? Are we giving Oklahoma, half of Oklahoma back to the Cherokee? Y'all remember that? It's a great article. I love it. It said the Supreme Court, was it Supreme Court Justice? One of the judges, one of the people that's supposed to always be right. They're deliberating the case of giving the land back to the Cherokee, that half of Oklahoma belongs to the Cherokee. People getting excited about it. People, hundreds of shares. People get excited about that one. And while I posted it, and I think that we should talk about it, we should talk about this whole owning land thing. Do I think America is going to give Oklahoma? Do I think America would give 2% of Oklahoma back to Cherokee? I haven't been here too long. I'd love to say yes. I'd love to say we're becoming sentient and we're like honoring treaties and stuff. I have never seen America honor a treaty in my life. If they do, it's a scam. But in general, I can't see it happen. Did see it mad right there. See right? That's one of my ancestors. That's a Cherokee. Solidarity, brother. I know, but I'd love to say that I actually think that that's going to happen. I don't. We blow up nations and murder peoples and broke every treaty and act we've ever signed. We don't even respect each other. We don't even respect our citizens. I think we're going to respect a treaty that got written long before 1913 and those international billionaires bought America? I don't think that's going to happen. But nothing surprised me. Nothing surprised me. Their God is manipulated fear, mojo. Yes, Daniel, it is. It is an Orwellian world, right? Because you can control people with the Orwellian world. You control people with a God. And so they made God a tool. They made religion a tool. And the Orwellian police state is a tool, right? Because after a while, people start to question it. They start to read the scriptures and realize their scriptures were in earlier books and earlier texts and scrolls. And that the one they have couldn't obviously be the original one. And mistakes happen when you copy things and people start to question them. But that's why you got 5G. You got an Orwellian police state to make sure if people ever get it and realize that they're being controlled and all these things are tools, then you can just zap them or something. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Patricia. Monty Python, killer rabbit. Yes, but Patricia, we are a killer rabbit. We need to stop trusting the killer rabbits. A one love unification. Daniel, that's what we need. That's what will bring things together. When people love each other, when they actually have some concern for each other, then we actually move forward. That's why I'm all about consciousness. I'm not about politics and government or anything like that. It's good people in government, good people are teachers, good people are cops, good people are in the DHS, good people in the Pentagon, good people all over, good people everywhere. But no good happens. Very little good happens. I mean, a lot of good happens, but very little. I mean, so let me clarify something, because I was processing. I was wrong. And I said something I need to clarify. I think I said, what did I say? That things are worse now than they've ever been. They are, in a way, right? So you watch TV, it'll convince you things are worse than what they've ever been. And it's not really true, right? I mean, there was a time where pretty much every wife was raped on a regular basis, right? There was a time where most marriages were forced, right? Where everybody was selling their girls. That doesn't happen in every town and in 97% of the houses anymore. So things are better. The problem is that they're worse from a legislative perspective, right? All of those things are legal somewhere. Rape, destruction, war, murder, but they happen less. I'm convinced they do. I think that they actually happen less, but it's still, things are more foul in a way, because now we know that they happen and we're okay with them happening, and we have laws to let them happen more and more and more, and we've got big corporations that make profit on them happening. But in terms of things getting better, things are getting better. They are getting better. It's just we have television now and smartphones, slave devices that tell us what's happening through 2 continents over. And it looks like it's so horrible and bad, but there are sections of the world where peace and freedom are breaking out. We just need to make that break out more by helping people. Stop letting God and religion be used as a tool. Stop letting political parties being used as a tool. You stop being a tool. Yes, it's the information age, Lori, and that information can be used to help people or it can be used to fool people. Good morning, Angie. Good morning, Sean. Let me get down. I was going to look at the news. I really don't want to look at the news. I'm sorry. I looked at it yesterday, and I don't want too much of that in my head. But we do have to, on a regular occasion, we should look at news. Not today, though. Conversation is important between two people or thousands. I think conversation is important, Lori, with as many people as you can conversate with. As many people who are willing to conversate with you, and they come in a conversation attempting to learn something, not debate with you. That's why I don't do debates. That's narcissistic and sociopathic, trying to force somebody else to believe what you believe. You might as well be in government. You might as well be a king or a lord. You might as well be a rapist. You want to force other people to believe what you believe? No, not interested in that. You know, conversation with many people who are ingenuous. I think that's a word, right? People who actually care and they want to be in a conversation, they're there to learn. Absolutely, talk to as many people as you can. That's where we are. We're supposed to be talking to people. So the guy I helped research how to start one did it. He's a businessman with a small business, and he's able to get mass amounts of material donations for the kids, 6K backpacks, and 3K pairs of shoes. His vision is a free nonprofit store where the folks who need to get it free and those who don't support it by paying. Yeah, okay, as they can. He's starting to set up these stores in the local elementary schools. I love it. And I love it too, Jeannie. So the funny thing about that is that actually was my philosophy for food, right? Like, you have to use money to fix these problems. We can use capitalism to get rid of capitalism, crony capitalism. We can. You know, it's a matter of sharing, right? Oh, see, so they won't get rid of it. That's somebody with something in the bank account right there. You know, we can use these systems. You can develop a system that allows people to pay, who have the ability to pay, and the excess doesn't get thrown in a trash can, creating artificial scarcity, but it goes to people who need it, right? We can start building models and businesses based in a model that are not nonprofit, but not for profit, that helps people get what they need, the people who don't have it, based on the people who have too much, and they don't want to keep everything that they got. And they're willing to pay into that. And we do need to start those type of corporations. I'd love to start one based in food, and I'm working in my head. I haven't given up on that. I'm still working on these ideas, but using it, because the thing is that in that idea, you actually have to eventually allow the people who are paying into that system to be free also, right? And get the free things. And the only way we do that is through automation, right? Innovation. Because that's how we free people. It's that innovation, automation is either how you enslave people and you make corporations wealthy, or you free people. So initially, and this is kind of based on the Ubuntu community model, where you've got these people who just were down on their luck, right? They were born to the wrong parents in the wrong locations and neighborhoods or whatever. Instead of being a vampire bunny and abusing them with legislation and war on drugs and stealing and robbing from them and throwing them in cages, you actually help them. But then you use automated efficiencies. And so in my model, Jeannie, it's food, right? It's starting from a model of growing food in the cheapest methods possible, as healthy as possible, and then using learning software and automation to maximize on efficiencies, so more of the people who are paying into the system can be free as well. And it's a total emancipation proclamation. The thing is, you need a business person who isn't in it for the greed, right? You need someone who doesn't want a Ferrari. You need someone who doesn't want a mansion. You need someone who has that consciousness, someone who is spiritual, someone who understands that we need to stop being vampire bunnies. We need to stop making corporations that pretend that they're not based in profit, and they're not willing to kill anybody they can for that profit. Every business as a model has to do that. So I love it. That's a great idea. And whatever your skill set is, whatever your abilities, whether you got money or skills, you should be thinking about this as well, because that actually is one of the things that might save us, is they're starting to create corporations that don't want to be corporations. That's what we need. We need problems that don't want to be problems, right? Like that leads into our discussion a little while ago about jobs and what jobs actually are. Jobs were problems. Somehow we made problems the default. Corporations are problems, and we make problems a default. And this is the suck about crony capitalism and this whole systemic model based in money, is that you take a problem and you reward it for being a problem. And this is what happens in a job thing. You have a job because a human can fit in that job, and it's a problem, so only a human can do it. But the goal is you want to create automation and robotics to get rid of that job so that human can go back to being free. That problem no longer exists in that ecosystem, right? But we've somehow created a system that creates problems and things to not solve those problems. So it's right in that same line of thinking, you know, and that's how we need to think about jobs. There are problems that need to go away. We don't need more jobs. We want less jobs because jobs are problems. We don't need more businesses. We need less businesses because there are problems. So we need businesses that fix the problem. We need jobs that fix the problem and get rid of it. But you need that society that takes care of people who don't have jobs so they can do important things, not forced labor that robots do better at. So I love that, Jeannie. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad that other people are like heading in those directions, because this is how we need to be thinking. Then this is why we got to do the echo chamber, like echo, 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 keep echoing and bringing more people into the chamber, and finally that echo hits somebody. It's like, bam, they have an epiphany and they enter something into the conversation. It becomes greater. That's why it's not time for Sharpies, it's time for conversation. We need an eventual goal. What is the eventual goal? I tell you, my eventual goal is no slavery. That's my eventual goal. My eventual goal is no killing children for profit. Don't care what your business is, don't care what your country is, don't care what your model is, no killing children for profit. No putting children in big cages or little cages for profit. That's my end game. Right? And that end game only comes about by money and banks going away, because the whole banking system is based in debt. And you give people debt because you want to make them slaves. You give them a forced labor society, and after a generation of colonization and destroying of people, they think it's normal. It's a good thing to have debt and get a job and try to pay off that debt. That's called slavery. That's all it's called. It's called slavery. You know, and so I think more people need to think about that. Not because I'm right, but because if their mind is thinking what is the end game and what are the root level problems, then we have real solutions coming out and real discussion. If we don't, then it's the same fighting the side effects with vampire bunnyism. All right. And I think that's a thing, though. It's called binocular. I didn't even know that. I was looking up vampire bunnies, and the damn thing, it's a real bunny. It's called binocular. And vampirism is real, by the way. You have vampire identity now. Y'all are not supposed to be discriminated against vampires. And I'm okay with vampires. I'm okay. But they drink people's blood. Yeah, who doesn't? Everything is consumption of energy. And besides that, vampires actually get something that you don't. That is, when you get infusions of blood, science actually vindicated Dracula. When you get infusions of blood, those stem cells actually fix things in your body. And they actually trigger other stem cells to fix things in your body, which is insane. And that's that doctor in Panama, that's that medicine that he's using that Mel Gibson gave to his father, and Joe Rogan and all the Ultimate Fighters all go down to Panama because they can heal faster because they get injections of those stem cells. Right? And that's just blood. That's vampirism. But we're all vampires. Everything I have is blood. Everything I have is energy. The laptop, the clothes, the food, the house, the car. All of that came from something else. So we're all vampires. But it's actually science now. See what's going on YouTube. Nuke waste stored in thin plastic trash bins. Not surprising. Not surprising. We don't care nothing about the ecosystem. We will destroy the ecosystem and everybody in it because we're vampire bunnies, and we'll do it, and we'll get a lot of support for it because people don't think that deep. We got to become deep thinkers. We got to be critical thinkers. We got to stop outsourcing your thought to politicians. Stop outsourcing your thought to leaders. Stop outsourcing your thoughts to government. You need to have your own thoughts. Stop outsourcing adulting. You need to have your own thoughts. You need to be in the conversation. All right, let me see. We need darkness, how the light often gets in. We need darkness. how the light often gets in. Absolutely, Daniel. We were talking about this the other day. We need darkness. We literally need unsustainability and evil to show us which way to go. Absolutely, we need darkness. The only thing we can do is we can push the dark in increasing corners of the room, right? Like when we turn the light on, when we do the echo chamber thing, we start to realize what are the real problems in the world and what root solutions can be. Darkness has to go hide. The war on drugs has to go hide in the corners. The Democrats and Republicans have to go hide in the corners. People who believe in force and authority have to go hide. And so the darkness will always exist. And no matter how many lights you can get a spotlight, get in that corner real close on Western governments and like shine it in there, there'll still be darkness in the deepest crack. So our obligation, I think, it should be reducing darkness. We'll never get rid of it. It's always our driver. It is literally the compass of showing us what we should not be doing by its results. Because we get played in, don't get me wrong, I'm not hitting Democrats and Republicans. I'm just saying we get played in by the bunny, but once you see the teeth, then you have to respond. You see the teeth, you realize that these are killers, then I gotta step away and push that darkness in the corner and turn more lights on. This open source world, no secrets, no classifications, none of that in government. You can't have any secrets, not in a world where you have so much power to destroy nations and murder millions of children, and people love that fluffy bunny. And they coddle with it. You know, that's what I think. Buju Banton, kidding. I love Buju Banton. Of course, I love his music. Let me see what you got. Good morning, Jamie. Good morning, Trudell. Let me see the Pope. Lots of laughter. Who cares what the head of the looting Luciferian pedophile org has to say? Hashtag not me. Not me either, Patricia. Not me either, because the Pope ain't my God. And we know the position of the popes murder more people than whatever else. And plus, they didn't do anything about that whole, the Pope is Pizzagate. The Pope is Epstein Island. The Pope is all that because they didn't do anything about what they were hurting all those kids, the archbishop. So I don't really care. And plus, they're hiding all the scriptures that can get people back in tune closer, possibly, to what these God-like things are with high technology and what the God is. So yeah, I have no interest. I don't really care what God tells the Pope. I only care about what God tells me, assuming I even know what God is. Me too. These days you got to question everything. Yes, Adam, you got to question everything, brother. You're on it. Everything, and not questioning. People like that joke. Look, there's people that don't want to question. I don't want to question that. No, I don't question. I got it figured out. I don't need to question it. Question everything, starting with yourself. Starting with your own indoctrination, question everything. The things you don't question will plague you. And I run into people all the time. They're questioning everything. Well, you got Democrats who question everything, and they question everything in the Republicans. They ain't touching that Democrat. You got Republicans that question everything in them Democrats. They won't question that. You got people who say question everything, but they won't question their own religion. They won't question their own faith. They won't question their own ideologies. Literally question everything. The things you don't question, somebody's going to use as a tool to play you. That's what I'm saying. It's not about religion. It's about tools. Stop being toolable. Patricia said, I don't have a life. Yeah, I don't have a life. I don't have a life either. I want to have a life, Patricia. But right now, I'm a captive. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm not a slave, but I'm a captive. Difference. My body is captured. And I can't leave because I got to help children, so I can't give up this American privilege. I got to fight with it. But I'm a captive. I don't lie. But I'll say I have a life when I'm not a captive, but I don't have a slave mentality. Nobody pulls me around by strings. I'm not a puppet or a tool. Not as much as I used to be. I got most of my strings off. They might get my ear and that. They might get my ear. They might get this hand, but damn it, you ain't getting the other one. You might get this finger, something on the string, because we were born all indoctrinated. We're all lied to, so we are probably all being pulled around a little bit, but, I know now the string and I'm looking for the string. Maybe that's the thing, Patricia. I'm looking for the string. I'm like, I see my finger doing this. What the hell? Why my finger doing that? I ain't do that. I ain't moving my finger. Somebody playing me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's war and colonization and slavery. That's legislation. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Who moving my finger? It's like with the 100. Y'all watch the 100. You watch the 100. Because they took Clark's body and put somebody else in her body, and Clark is in her body, but she's doing Morse code with her finger. Big time spoiler alert, but anyway, I'm sorry. Gotta watch it. You know, and I look for the strings. We need to be string seekers. You know, because anybody ever pulling your strings, they're bunnies with fangs. Because they're using you, they're playing you. They're playing up to your things that you hold dear, your indoctrination. So you want to look for the strings. Look for the strings. Look for people who are obviously trying to play you, and understand that they always come in bunny suits. Satan, they say, is pretty. Lucifer, they always come somebody pretty. Satan doesn't come as a velociraptor with fangs. Satan comes as a bunny. We're here to help. I say, if anything, who's an Adam? You question everything, you need to question things that look like bunnies even twice. I'm a skeptic. You want to put some real skepticism? Anybody that talks up to the philosophies that you think are right, that are worth killing other people, you need to really question that. Anybody talks up to you, anytime somebody comes and be like, brother man, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, okay. I see what's happening. We need to, whoa, what's this we stuff? I don't know you. I just met you. What's it, we? What's we? You know, anytime somebody talks up to what they think you will fall for, that might be somebody trying to play you. Question them even twice. Meanwhile, the space station is being prepared for commercial space vehicle docking, right? Well, you know what? Who's that? Marilyn? I think I like that though, Marilyn. I think I like that. I think that Elon Musk is helping us with space travel. We got to get the billionaires off our backs, right? Too many of our family are gaslit and love slavery and want us to pull us back into slavery as much as possible. We need to give the billionaires another target. And so I like space travel. I like reducing the cost, because I think when it's cheaper to get those minerals and resources that they're vampire bunnies on this planet for, when the billionaires and trillionaires can go up there, and it's cheaper to do that than buy the Pentagon in America and lie to everybody with the media and get them into these Democrat and Republican colonizer groups. I think when it's cheaper to just go to space and get the resources, I think they'll do that. I think when helium-2 can replace fossil fuels and petroleum, we're assuming that they aren't already going up there getting it and just not telling us. I like the idea of space travel, because everything, like, they don't hate us. The billionaires, they don't hate us. They don't, you know, they just don't care. We're just in their way. We're in their way. Babies are in their way of oil they need to drill, so they're willing to get a Democrat and Republican party with the Pentagon and step on it, with Britain and Germany and Italy and all the rest of the dummies who come along. And so when it's more cost effective to go to space and get their minerals, then they leave people's intellects down here. You know, then they can take that bunnyism to space. You let the aliens deal with your crazy. And I think the aliens ain't got something for you. That might not be easy to get up there, but maybe that's what we need. We need the billionaires to start going to space, going for resources, and try to act like vampire bunnies on Melmac 7 till you see what that alien look like. Maybe that's how we get help from the aliens. Let the billionaires go to space, leave us the hell alone, stop destroying our nations, playing people into being apathetic vampire bunnies, and let the aliens get on them. But I think Elon Musk is on to something. I think he's a crazy, psychopathic billionaire, but I think he's the best one we got. He's the one talking about free internet, and mind you, I think it might be, of course, controlled internet. But we need to know what's happening around this world. We still got people being oppressed and facing things that we know nothing about. And I think information is good. And the more information people have, the better decisions they can make. You know, and that's why everyone's always trying to play you into these corners and make you stupid. You know, I like it. I love it. I think we should go to space, and we need to cheer it. And the cheaper space travel gets, the more ROI, the more return on investment that these billionaires can get, because that's all they really care about. At the end of the day, it's just profit, it's just money, it's just greed. They say racism and all these things get you excited and emotional. It's never about any of that. They don't care nothing about that. They only care about green. And when they know if they can make more money racing to space, then that's exactly what they'll do. And this might be our opportunity to get out of this nonsense, is get that space travel down to low cost. All right, I gotta get going. They pick your brain or play you into doing their job. Yes, glass door. All right. That's what I mean, Marilyn. But I do know this. I do know billionaires aren't creative people. They use poor people. Poor people are the creative people. Poor people have to use their creativity. Billionaires are not. Oh wow, they didn't like that. Who's that? They're not creative people. Trust me, I know. I didn't work with them my whole life. They use very smart, intelligent, poor people for these ideas. That's why you wouldn't have 5Gs if you had conscious people, because they wouldn't work on the project. You wouldn't have people who worked for these black budget projects. Everybody would be like Bob Lazar if you were spiritual and oh, damn it. Speaking of Bob Lazar, about Area 51 time. Who going to Area 51? Y'all, please don't go. Don't go. But that's why people want to go down there, because you have a few conscious spiritual people who like work on things, and Bob Lazar, to me, is a hero. I put Bob Lazar up there with Manning, Assange. You know, there were people who they gave up the bribe. They gave up the bribe. And that's something I think Bob Lazar gave up the bribe when he was in his 20s. You know, it took me till I was like in my 30s to realize that I'm like literally building a retirement and selling people out around the world. And I'm no different than the billionaires and trillionaires that run the company, because I basically wanted to be them. I mean, I didn't want $1 trillion. I didn't want $1 billion, but wanted the bigger house, the bigger car. That's no different than wanting a bigger mansion. That's the same unsustainable mindset. So every now and then you have someone who's conscious, like a Bob Lazar. What did he decide? He decided, I live in a world where if this technology were freely known, people probably wouldn't die as much. Well, they definitely wouldn't die as much. They may not die at all. He walked away. And we need that. We need to stop being used as tools. We need to stop letting consumerism, religion, political parties, politics, and use us as tools. Those are all tools because there's a bunny that's hopping around that looks nice and furry and it wants you to pet it. But that bunny is always about consuming energy. And we need to stop consuming energy in the form of human. Then we really need to reduce consuming energy in the form of creatures with emotions. All right, how you going? This is Gerard. Y'all have a good day. Love y'all to death. I am out of here. Bye-bye.